Long ago, in a village nestled between tall palm trees and wide green farmlands, there lived a boy named Kachi. He was only 12 years old, thin and barefoot, with clothes so torn that they were more patches than fabric. The other children in the village laughed at him, the traders mocked him, and even the goats seemed to live better than he did. But Kachi had one thing he never let go of: an old cracked calabash tied together with palm rope. He carried it everywhere, pressed tightly against his chest, as though it was his greatest treasure. "Look at that boy," people would shout when he passed. "All he owns is that useless calabash." But Kachi never replied. He only whispered to himself, "One day, they will know." In the same village lived a wealthy trader's daughter named Adamma. She was 17, tall and beautiful, with wrappers made of the finest cloth, her head always wrapped in bright jewel, and her wrists jingling with golden bangles. Everyone admired her beauty, but her heart was full of pride. Whenever she saw Kachi with his calabash, she made sure her voice was the loudest in the market. Here comes the orphan again," she would laugh, tossing her head proudly. "Tell me, boy, does your calabash cook food? Does it give you parents? Or are you just carrying a bowl of dust?" Her friends laughed loudly, and the traders shook their heads. But Kachi only looked down at the dusty road and whispered again, "One day, you will know." Time passed. Market days came and went. Always Kachi was seen with his calabash. Sometimes he sat quietly by the river, holding it close and whispering to it. Sometimes he placed it gently on the ground as if it were alive. People wondered, but nobody dared to ask. Nobody except Mama Neka, the village elder. One evening she called him. She was 60 years old, wrinkled but wise, leaning on her wooden staff. "My child," she said softly, "why do you carry that calabash everywhere?" Kachi bowed his head. "Mama, this calabash is the only thing my mother left me before she died. She told me to keep it safe, because one day it would show me the way." The old woman nodded slowly. "Then never let it go, my son. What people mock today may be their salvation tomorrow." But Adamma never stopped mocking him. One hot afternoon, during the busiest market day, she spotted Kachi walking with his calabash. She was surrounded by her friends, dressed in bright wrappers, carrying baskets of beads. She stopped and shouted, so the whole marketplace could hear, "Look at him again, carrying that old broken calabash as if it were treasure. Let us finally see what is inside. Maybe he hides rotten food in it." She walked up to him, hands on her hips. "Open it now, orphan boy. Let us see." Kachi looked up at her calmly. "No, Adamma, this calabash is not for mocking eyes." The crowd began to gather. People loved drama. Children ran from their mothers' stalls. Traders leaned on their baskets. Everyone wanted to see what would happen. Adamma grew louder. "So you mean to tell me that you, a poor orphan, are better than me? You mean you can carry this calabash, and I cannot look inside? Open it." Kachi shook his head again. "Adamma, you will not understand." And before he could stop her, Adamma snatched the calabash from his hands. The villagers gasped. The air grew heavy with silence. She lifted the cover and peered inside. At first, she saw only darkness. Then, slowly, a glow began to rise, faint at first, then brighter and brighter, until it shone like the midday sun. The people shielded their eyes. Some stumbled backward. "What is this?" they cried. "Is it fire? Is it spirits? Is it magic?" Adamma's proud face froze. Her eyes widened. Inside the calabash, she saw visions, visions of her own heart. Every lie she had told, every time she mocked the poor, every time she looked down on others. She saw greed, she saw pride, and she saw the curse that was waiting for her if she did not change. Her bangles shook, her hands trembled. Suddenly, her knees gave way. She collapsed onto the ground in the middle of the market, her fine clothes now covered in dust. The villagers screamed, "Adamma! Adamma!" Mama Neka pushed through the crowd, her wooden staff striking the earth. She leaned down, closed the calabash, and the light disappeared. The market grew silent, except for Adamma's soft sobs. Slowly, she opened her eyes. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She turned to Kachi, still kneeling in the dust, and whispered, "Forgive me. I mocked you. I thought you were nothing, but I was the one who was blind." The people of the market stood in stunned silence. They had never seen Adamma cry. They had never seen her bow her head. Mama Neka raised her voice. "Let this be a lesson to us all. Never mock what you do not understand. Even the smallest calabash may carry the greatest secret." From that day, Adamma was no longer the proud, mocking girl she had once been. She became humble, helping widows, orphans, and strangers. When people asked her why, she only shook her head and said, "Because I once looked into an orphan's calabash, and I will never forget what I saw." As for Kachi, he grew into a wise young man. He still carried his calabash, though no one ever dared to ask about it again. Some said it was a gift from his ancestors. Some said it was the spirit of his late mother. But only Kachi knew, and so the village learned an unforgettable lesson. Pride goes before a fall, and humility lifts the lowly. The treasure we mock today may be the very thing that saves us tomorrow. My friends, that is the story of the orphan's calabash. Remember it, tell it to your children, and carry its lesson in your heart. For in this world, nothing is too small to carry greatness, and no one is too poor to be blessed. Now tell me, if you were Adamma, would you have dared to look inside